Today we are paying a revisit to this 52-inch Hunter R&M original ceiling fan, dating sometime around 1976 to 1977. Fan is 2-speed, finished in chestnut brown with polished brass blade irons, paired with a set of Pecan square tip blades with your standard affair 15-degree blade pitch. Get you a look at the tag here. Model 22272, 1.9 amp shaded pole motor. You'll notice there the serial number is blank. Up here, the canopy that you see is not original. Right here is the original canopy to the fan. It's one of those flush mount style canopies. That canopy that you see is made of plastic, and I think those were available in the late 70s, so it sort of period correct, but it's not original. That canopy was white, but I painted it brown with a shade of brown that I had lying around. It definitely doesn't match the chestnut brown of the fan, but it works. The switch housing oil cup is also made of plastic on this fan. So this era of original here, definitely quite unique. I think this is one of the earliest with the model 22272. The models that predate this were the 22206. I'm not sure how long the 1.9 amp motors were made, but I think they were replaced with the 2.5 sometime around the late 70s, 78 or 79 if I were to guess. Now, explaining the polished brass irons on a chestnut brown motor, that is because the blades were sold separate from the motors themselves. So likely whoever bought this fan bought a polished brass set of blades with a chestnut brown motor. Hard to say if it was an intentional or an accidental thing that they just rolled with. Who knows? But it's rather unique. I know mid-70s on back originals had a 2-piece step switch housing. And then in the early 70s, they had a bulbous switch housing on their 22206 originals there. So, not much else to say about it. Filmed this fan around 6 years ago. Picked this up from a Habitat restore back in 2014 or so. Also bought a Vasco Vanity Fair at the same time I got this, but due to some unfortunate circumstances that I won't get into, I no longer have that Vanity Fair. So we'll start it up here on low. You can hear the fan has a harmonic sound to it when it runs here on low. We're doing around 100 RPM. Bit of wobble to the warp blades, I would imagine. Nothing too serious. And we'll go to high. Here on high, we're doing around 185 RPM. Of course, backed with the 15-degree blade pitch, it is a pretty solid performing fan as you would expect. Runs pretty decent for its age. These motors are also much heavier than their 80s and on, successors. I'm not sure if they used a thicker casting on their motors back in this time period or not, or just the stator itself is much heavier. I know these 1.9 amp stators actually have less poles in them than the 2.5 amp ones do. I think the 2.5 has 28, I think, poles in there, and I think this only has 19 or something like that. I haven't counted for a while, so I'm just rolling off the top of my head there. We'll power things down, and that's about all I got. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video on this 52-inch Hunter R&M original ceiling fan model 22272 from around 1976 to 1977. We'll see you next time. Stay cool. Take care. Peace.